Right, so welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So we had a good first session on success, key to success and progress in life. And we had an enlightening question and answer session. I'm glad you all asked those questions. It just highlights that you were following the discussion very keenly and closely. Right, so getting on with this workshop. As you all know, this workshop is on a very important workshop on managing relationships. Relationships, as we all know, is a very important aspect of our life. We can't do without relationships. We are an integral part of society, hence the dire need to learn the art of relating with people so that what we get out of them and what we give is happiness, harmony. So it's all going to be about governing relationships, managing relationships, and the ways to stay happily married, to have harmony in marriage, to have a beautiful married life, which I see many of you are very interested in. And why not? It's a very important aspect of our life. So we're going to look at the 6 golden rules to have an exquisite, a happy, a harmonious, a healthy and positive relationship with one and all. So it's not only confined to marital relationships, but these 6 golden rules, when carefully implemented, friends, will ensure that we have a positive relationship with everybody, with our parents, with our children, with our spouse, with our colleagues at work, with our seniors, with our subordinates, with our teammates, with one and all. As opposed to, we ought to have a healthy relationship, as opposed to having an acrimonious relationship, a sour and a bitter relationship with people. Or relationships which are of a Cold War-like scenario, wherein there's always a tension, a friction that's overshadowing our relationships, and which unfortunately we find all over the world today, this Cold War-like scenario, And it doesn't help anybody. In fact, such relationships, which has this tension and friction glooming over always, it brings down our efficiency, our productivity, our creativity in all spheres of our life. So it's virtually a lose-lose situation to one and all, to have acrimonious relationships. Yeah? A seeker, a student, asked his master. He said, "Oh master, could you please let me know who's the best person that we should relate to? And what's the best time to relate with people so that we have a happy and harmonious life?" And the master gave a very wise answer, very practical answer, and he said, "The best person to relate to is that person who's with you at that point of time. And the best time to relate to him is at that point of time. Because you don't know who are you going to be with next and when. So it's very important that we have a positive and healthy relationship with everybody and all the time. As the beautiful metaphor goes, there's a very beautiful metaphor about relationships, as you all know. Relationship is like a thread, a delicate thread. And we must make sure that this delicate thread of love does not break, does not snap. Because even if we rejoin it after it snaps, there will always be a knot. And the more the number of times it snaps, the more the number of knots. The knots of friction, the knots of differences, the knots of hurts. You see, friends, it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes integrity, a lot of integrity to build a solid, a sound relationship. But it just takes a few acts, just one or two impulsive, immature and unwise acts on our part to bring a well-built relationship to an end or turn it sour. That's why, we see the thickest of friends or the most beautiful relationships, that can be a married life, a married relationship, or any other relationship. The thickest of friends, one fine day we hear their relationship has broken or it has turned sour. Yeah? But if we put in a conscious effort, carefully analyze and implement these 6 golden rules that we're going to discuss, which is based on sublime higher values of life and living, rest assured we're going to have a beautiful and a positive relationship with everybody. At least, by implementing these 6 golden rules, the relationship will not turn sour or will not break because of you. There's nothing going to go wrong on your part because we can't control others. We are not the custodian of another's conscience. So at least we can take care that our relationship and how we relate is perfect, is good. And there's a very beautiful saying, and it goes like, a healthy relationship or a friend or a good partner is a gift that you give to yourself. A friend or a healthy relationship is a gift that you give to yourself. And by implementing these values in life, we give ourselves this beautiful gift of a healthy relationship with everyone. And as we saw in the previous seminar, in the first seminar, which was on success, as you all remember, one of the key ingredients to success is cooperation, is working in a spirit of cooperative endeavor. How are we going to do that? How are we going to elicit the cooperation and support of others? Only when we are in good terms with others, we can do so. Right? And these 6 golden rules also help in that. It helps us to achieve success in life. So everything is interconnected. Hence these series of workshops, these series of value-based management seminars. So how do we maintain a good relationship with one and all, friends? It's one of the most wanted topics in the world today. And one of the most fundamental questions that people ask all over the world about relationships is that, does marriage or does any relationship by itself per se, does it bring harmony, peace and happiness in our life? It's a very fundamental question. Because people see many relationships breaking all over the world today. According to the official records of US, the divorce rate is more than 70% per annum, which means out of every 10 marriages, out of every 10 relationships, 7 are breaking every year. Now that's a sad scenario. No, it's not only about breaking up. There's a lot of bitterness, a lot of mental agitations and sorrow that leads up to that ultimate breakup. So, and 70% is quite an alarming figure, and we're not too far behind. We are following suit. So it's a very sad scenario, the mental agitation, the bitterness, the friction that leads up to that breakup. Hence this fundamental question, and that is, is marriage or any relationship useful in maintaining harmony, joy and peace in our life? That is why, we take so much time and effort, we invest so much time and effort, friends, to choose a partner, to choose who we are relating to, rather than how we are relating. Yeah? I'm not suggesting that we must not look into who we are dealing with. Of course, that's important, especially when it comes to our life partner. We have to know who we're dealing with. But the question is that all? Is that all that we got to focus our attention on, or there's something more? We have to also focus on how we are relating with others, how we are relating with our partner. That's more important. In fact, this knowledge teaches us that we can relate with anyone, provided we know the art, we know the skill how to relate with people. And that's what we're going to learn in this seminar. What values help us to have a good relationship with everybody? So, any relationship, friends, if we carefully analyze any relationship or marriage, by itself, per se, cannot guarantee joy or sorrow. Any relationship per se cannot produce joy or sorrow. It's the way we place our relationship in life, it's the way we deal with our relationship that determines what we get out of it, joy or sorrow. It's like a zero, a big zero. In mathematics, zero has no value. As you can see in the slide, if we place the zero on the right side of the decimal point, the figure decreases. But that same zero, which by itself has no value, when we place it on the left side of the decimal point, the figure increases manifold times. It's precisely like that in our real life. If we place our marriage, if we place our relationship correctly, properly in life, friends, there's a lot of joy and happiness that emanates out of marriage or any relationship, and vice versa. If we do not place our relationship properly in life, there's a lot of misery and mental agitations that comes out of it. Another example is that of a kitchen knife, A kitchen knife is a very useful equipment, a very useful piece of equipment, provided that we know how to handle it, we know how to use it. If we do not use it properly, if we misuse it, that very useful equipment could harm us. Similarly, electricity. Electricity is a blessing, provided that we know how to contact it. And that very electricity, that's a blessing, turns into a curse if we do not know how to contact it properly. So initially it gives us shocks if we do not relate to electricity properly, and that's an indication. Similarly in life, when we are not maintaining our relationships well, we are not placing our relationships, our marriage properly in life, it gives us some knocks and shocks of life. It's an indication that we've got to pay heed to how we're relating to people. And if we continue not contacting electricity properly, it could electrocute us, it could harm us. Similarly, if we do not relate to people properly, that very beautiful marriage could turn into a very miserable state of affairs. So, in this seminar, in this value-based seminar, we are going to discuss and learn how to place our marriage or any relationship in life correctly, properly, how to deal with it, how to relate with others properly, with these higher values. And we're going to particularly focus on those relationships, friends, that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. You see, there are certain people who we can't avoid, who we have to face, who we have to relate to on a day-to-day basis. And if we do not know the art, the skill, the technique to relate with them properly, I'm afraid it turns out to be a source of immense annoyance, a source of immense mental agitation on a daily basis, which is very sad indeed. So let's remember the first lesson in relationships, and that is any relationship, let that be marriage or any relationship, per se, by itself cannot guarantee joy or sorrow. By itself, it does not produce joy or sorrow, but it is the way we relate to it, it's the way we place our relationships in life. And this idea is put forth beautifully by the famous poet, one of the greatest poets that this world has ever produced, and that's John Milton. And he puts this idea succinctly, and he says, "The mind is its own place, left to itself, can make a hell out of heaven, and vice versa. It can make a heaven out of hell." So what otherwise is a beautiful relationship, so what otherwise is a beautiful marriage, friends, we can turn it into a hell. We can make a hell out of it, spoil it. And vice versa. What is a difficult marriage, a difficult relationship, by virtue of us implementing, adhering to some higher values in life, we can turn it around. We can make a heaven out of it. It all boils down to how we're relating to people. So as we go along now, we'll be seeing if we are placing our relationships correctly in life. And these 6 golden rules, as we've seen, if we implement it to the deep, carefully, bring it into our lives, it's going to ensure that you're going to have a very exquisite, a very healthy, a very positive relationship with one and all. Let it be your parents, children, your spouse, your colleagues at workplace, your seniors, your subordinates, you name it, and you're going to have a really beautiful relationship with everybody. So what are these 6 golden rules? Let's have an in-depth analysis and see how can we implement them and how not to deviate from these marvelous, sublime values of life. Yeah? So, the first and foremost golden rule to have a harmonious relationship, friends, is nature assessment. Nature assessment. Now, what does that mean? And how do we go about assessing others objectively, without any bias? And how does this nature assessment help us in maintaining a harmonious relationship? Let's see that.